This episode is brought to you by Trailer Park Yard Games, where over 28 games are delivered directly to your party. We park the trailer, you party.
Of course.
I was single for 6 years.
I'm so glad that I'm not in the dating scene.
She actually has a blister on her finger. It's a callus.
This one has no fingerprint anymore. So.
Okay, so I don't have Tinder, nor am I going to get Tinder.
No,
Yeah,
you would
you
die.
shouldn't.
Anne would kill
Anne
you.
would bear you out back.
And there's no Amish Tinder, because I know that's your type. Yeah, that's your type.
I do like,
They don't have electronics. You got to go out to the farm to meet them.
What if you just have to pick her up and swipe her left or right, whatever. Okay, so Bill's probably feeling a little outnumbered right now.
Let's have a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.
Hello, and welcome to the PB and JC podcast. I am JC, and I am joined by
Sarah Paget.
it's
And
her,
I'm Bill Stedham.
Billy Stedham.
Yeah, the legend.
Yes.
In his own mind.
The man, the
Big
myth, the
bad
legend.
Billy.
He's here. I had the pleasure in the last month having my family, my in-laws, come and stay with me. I was
Are you
with
being
them.
facetious?
Was with them for a full 2 weeks.
No, that was a pleasure.
2 weeks together. It was crazy.
On purpose?
And it made me realize 2 weeks together, I couldn't imagine my family and then leaving them to go to work. And it's my family. And then,
But you can't ever get away from them.
yes, but we are joined by the lovely DeAnne Fite, who is granddaughter of Judge Fite, of Century 21 Judge Fite, daughter of Jim Fite. You are in the family business, joined real estate.
Well, we've actually,
all of
so
those
we've had
things.
Jim and Petey, and then we've also had Eric and
brother Eric,
Rachel.
yes.
So we had to
You
make
were the
circle
last
come.
one.
No, we have Jan coming here in a
Jan's
week
coming.
or two.
Oh, yeah. It's family business.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm a mom of two. I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Kids.
Babies. No,
Okay,
they're,
they're
they act
kids.
like
Oh,
babies.
okay.
They'll always
One of
be
them acts
babies.
like a teenager, the 10-year-old, but
I love them. They've got a ton of personality, which is awesome.
they
but
do.
you do too.
They do. Yes, I kind of do too. I'm a single mom. I've been single for 6 years.
Well, wait, I saw some on Facebook where maybe that is changing?
That is. I just recently got engaged.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
As
Thank
of this
you.
podcast, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
Just right before I got
Stay
here.
tuned.
so we won't ask you for a date or anything, but maybe by the time this airs, it'll be
She's
something
taken.
else.
She's taken.
Take it down.
Sorry, guys. She's off the market.
Yeah. So
Was it multiple offers or just the one?
No, it's been multiple.
Oh, okay.
Finally decided on highest and best.
Highest and best. It was the highest and best, so that works out.
So single mom, mother of two. How do you, or have
And
you?
businesswoman.
Yeah, and now you're what, a manager of an office? How do you manage all that? How do you? I hate to use the word balance because it never balances, but how do you fit all that into a day?
I pray a lot and cry a lot. So no, actually, I love what I do for a living. So I think that's the most important part. Is I really, really, honestly love what I do for a living. And I do love my kids too. I probably should have mentioned them before the business. But, oops. No, but I really do I love what I do. And so it's easy to get up in the morning and go and do it.
It doesn't feel like you're going to a job. It just
No,
feels like
it feels like, well, some days. Yesterday was
So,
one of those.
but in 24 years, I'll tell you, yesterday we had a difficult situation that we had to deal with, and DeAnne and I worked through it, and DeAnne, thanks, you did a great job. So we're dealing with this situation, but in 24 years, maybe I've had 5 of those I've had to deal with, so it's not that it happens a lot.
A normal occurrence.
But I am curious, you're a Fite, so that must...
Fite, by the way.
Yes.
That must mean that we just handed you the office, and the day you said you wanted to be a manager, we made you a manager, and your boss must just cow to,
Doesn't
the
that mean you
owners
get
of the
all the
company.
leads and stuff too?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that come in?
Isn't that how that
all the
works?
time. So, yeah, it only took 16 years for me to get my position. So, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And a lot of begging, and then a lot of trying to prove myself over and over and over and
Like,
over
do I
again.
need to change my last name for this to happen?
So, no. Make it real clear. Don't
Yeah.
change your last name because it's not going to happen. When I got into real estate, I told my dad I want to start buying and selling, helping people list and sell homes. And he said, okay, it was over breakfast with William Ferguson at, I'll never forget, Cafe Brazil in Bishop Arts. I don't even think it was called Bishop Arts back then. But I said, okay, Dad, this is what I want to do. I want to go into full-time sales. It's the recession, so that makes a lot of sense for me
why
to
not?
do it right then.
If you're gonna do it now.
Yeah. When everybody's jumping out of the business, I was going to jump right in.
Hey, against
Yay.
you go upstream.
I do
Upstream.
all the time. Always the hard way. I have to learn the hard way. But my dad said, that's great. That's fantastic. But here's the deal. You're going to do it on your own, and I'm not going to give you a lead for 5 years. 5 years. So no one can say, I gave you everything, you did it.
Yeah.
So for 5 years, I'm not going to give you any business.
Well, and I'm a firm believer that I think it's harder to be, the son of a preacher or, when your daddy is the boss, because you have to prove yourself. Mm-hmm. You also have everyone around you thinking that the business is handed to you. So if you do have any type of success at all, it's not because you're good and because you worked hard to get it. It's because daddy gave it to you, regardless of what the truth is. But so you are fighting an uphill battle. Fight. I feel like I should drink every time I say fight. But no, so you've got challenges anyway. And then I think it's really easy to rest in the laurel. So I know a lot of people that work for their parents that are the opposite. They're just like, oh, my daddy owns a business. I'm good. I can relax.
No big deal. I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah,
no one's gonna
but
say anything to me.
all eyes are on you all the time. And there's that whole, it's not like you can escape. People know, they know who your daddy is. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with, you've reached this level of success. You have crawled. You have scratched and clawed and whatever you had to do to get here.
She earned it. Every bit of it.
So how do you deal with that? Because I know that's hard. I've seen you struggle with that.
It's funny. I was thinking of a time where I called my dad crying, and I'm like, they think that you give me all my leads, so why don't you just at least give me one? He was like,
They already think it.
yeah, they're already thinking. Why don't we just do it? And of course, he's like, get off the phone, DeAnne. Okay. Go back to work, DeAnne. Okay. Go sell another house, DeAnne. Okay.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, has there been an advantage with me going out to listing appointments and my last name being Fite? Maybe a little, but is there a bigger advantage that we work for Century 21? That's way bigger. That's way bigger.
Yeah.
But I've learned, I sit in more training classes than, I don't know if it's more than you, Sarah, but it's probably close.
I bet you do.
But just trying to grow myself really just as a person, but trying to grow the business at the same time. And, I've had ups and downs in it, of course. And, COVID really went with being a single mom and now a school teacher and my housekeeper quit and, all of those.
Dang it.
Wait, but it gets better. So she decides, let's remodel the house. But let's not just remodel the house. Let's take it down to the studs.
Yeah, let's gut it.
Let's gut it.
Yeah, so she tears
Yeah.
everything out of this house, and it's in COVID where you can't buy a nail.
Yeah, so I'm real smart. So I just
You
go
choose
ahead,
to
gut
get
it.
Upstream.
It seems like you always choose the right time to do everything.
You know what? But it's all worked out.
Yes, it has worked out in the end.
It has. I learned how to be a hard worker. I think
For
that's
sure.
the biggest thing. I learned how to work really, really hard. And I think life is more fun when you work hard. And you
For
can
sure.
appreciate it a whole lot more too.
Right.
And you don't have as much time to spend all the money you make because you got to go back to work. That's
That's true.
You save
Well,
more.
she doesn't get to spend the money, the kids do.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
right. That's
of
the
course.
truth.
So what all are your kids involved in right now? Because I know they're at ages where it's like pretty much you're just their chauffeur.
You're right.
And
Correct,
whatever
yes.
they're
And
in,
an
you are
eight.
now in.
Yes. So my daughter does volleyball and basketball. I'm her volleyball coach, so I do that as well. Which
You're
is
a coach
Oh
too?
my goodness.
It's so fun.
All the
It's
different
awesome.
hats.
Well, she does something else too, I think, with her son.
And we did scouts. I was a scout leader for scouts.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, Eric's kids are in the
They're super
Eagle
into
Scouts
it.
and all that stuff.
And then my son plays basketball. He loves basketball. He plays soccer too.
Your family's all really tall. Is he tall? Yeah, they're all tall.
Yeah, my daughter.
Y'all are giants.
My daughter has a size 9 shoe, and she's just turned 10 like 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
We wear the same size shoe. her and
Okay,
I.
so just so you know, and I don't think she'll grow into it, but I have huge hands and huge feet. And in like 5th grade, I wore like a size 9, 10, whatever. I never grew anymore.
Oh, that's not a fight.
Yeah, I know. I stopped fighting at some
I'm
point.
5'11", so come on.
Wow.
I think she'll
5'5".
be well over 6 foot. That's what the doctors.
That's
all
awesome,
say.
though.
Yeah, she's
That's
super tall.
crazy.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit because being a taller woman and you were in the dating scene for a while. Like, is
What
that
was
hard?
that like?
Do you have to like
Tell us about modern dating.
Do you look at the profile and like scroll immediately to the height, or can you filter by height?
Let me look by reference. Okay, he's standing next to a building. By scale. Okay, no.
That's such a good question. So, height is not important to me in dating. It really isn't because it can't be. Let me
Yeah,
make that
like,
real
I-
clear.
You want to meet out
Only
totally
like 2% of people are taller than me. So, I mean, really. But, I mean, the average height on a guy is 5'9".
And
What
you're
are you gonna
5'11".
do?
You're 5'11".
Yeah,
Now, what
5'11".
about the new man?
He's like 5'10".
He's not as tall as her.
He is
I've
not
met
as,
him.
he is not as tall as me.
But still, 5'10" is pretty tall.
Well, she wears heels.
Oh, and I wear, everywhere I go. Except for today. I'm sporting my...
So you could do, for the wedding, I'm just thinking I'm going to go ahead and plan. You could do some nice little
together.
ballerina flats. He could do like a little bit of a heel. And then you
little
would be
lift.
like, just a little lift.
He'll stand on the first step. Of the,
Stand on the bottom.
That, or we bust his kneecaps, put him in a wheelchair, no one would know.
there you go.
Hey, he was in the hospital the other day for falling and almost breaking his back.
What did he do?
He slipped on ice.
Oh, is that what you are telling everyone? I've heard stories.
We won't get into that.
Yes.
But
No
height,
comment.
Height really doesn't. It has nothing to do with personality and who you are. And he's the tallest guy in any room he walks into.
How did you meet your fiance?
So
Is that weird to say, fiance?
It is. The first time I said it, I was getting my nails done. I was like, she goes, "Oh my gosh, you have a ring now!" And I said, "Yes, and I have a fiance." Oh, I've never said that before. It was exciting.
You have to say it a certain way. Like it's
Fiance. I like the
like you have to
Fiancé.
use your nostrils a little bit. Like
Yeah.
my nostril flares a little bit. Fiance.
Fiancé.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we met. He, his best friend and my best friend were dating at the time. They've recently broken up. Not recently. It's been a while, I guess, about a year ago.
Sorry, but we got ours. Thank you.
So you didn't meet him on Tinder?
Thanks,
I
girl.
did not meet him on Tinder.
Okay, I thought it was a swipe left or swipe right thing.
He wasn't a swipe. Thank God. You know, I mean,
Did you do that for a while? Well, I've heard.
Of course.
I was single for 6 years.
I'm so glad that I'm not in the dating scene.
She actually has a blister on her finger. It's a callus.
This one has no fingerprint anymore. So.
Okay, so I don't have Tinder, nor am I going to get Tinder.
No,
Yeah,
you would
you
die.
shouldn't.
Anne would kill
Anne
you.
would bear you out back.
And there's no Amish Tinder because I know that's your type. Yeah, that's your type.
I do like, you know.
they don't have electronics. You got to go out to the farm to meet them.
What if you just have to pick her up and swipe her left or right, whatever? Okay, so Bill's probably feeling a little outnumbered right now. So let's talk a little bit about growing up in the world of real estate because it was all around you. Grandparents, parent, talk about that.
We've had some people, sorry not to interrupt, but we've had a couple of people who have been in the family business, and I feel like a common theme is I told myself I would never be X or whatever it was.
That's what happened with Leanne.
Is
She
that
said
is
she
that
said
is that how you were?
Oh yeah, I can remember banging my fist on the table. I will never be in real estate like you. You know. And
Yeah.
here I am.
You know, that's what Leanne told Ann and I all the time. She went to college. She got this fashion merchandising degree. I paid a lot of money for her to learn how.
And paid a lot of money.
Okay, Ann paid a lot of money.
And she's not really used to it.
And now she's in real estate. You know, she got the dream job. They were going to fly her to New York to work exactly where she wanted to work. And she called Ann up and said, "Yeah, I want to get back in real estate."
Oh, wow. But hey, that's good. And now she's nearby, so she's not.
She's nearby so that I can, and when the time is right, I can, go see my grandchildren. Hint, hint.
So what did you, what was the whole, I'll never do it? What made you say that?
Yeah.
My dad is wonderful. Let me start there. But
Uh-oh, Jim, here it comes, buddy.
Well, he's not paying for the wedding, so you don't have to kiss up at this point in time.
Yeah.
he wasn't around a lot, and we also lived an hour away from him, so it's not really on him. But we'd go to restaurants, and he'd make his round around the restaurants before he'd come and sit down with us, and always take the calls. He was growing a wonderful. The company that it is.
So y'all
today.
lived separately growing
Right.
up? Okay.
I did not live with my father growing up. My parents got divorced when I was about two or three.
Okay.
So I was very young.
Okay.
I don't remember a time when lived in the same house.
Oh,
I don't have
okay,
any recollection of that.
Okay.
So,
So do you have daddy issues? Just kidding.
no, I'm just kidding. No, my dad. And that's
Talk to us about it.
He's such a wonderful, wonderful person. He really, really
He's
is.
awesome.
It was just the fact that he was growing this business, and I lived an hour away from him, and
Yeah,
so
that's
he
a
couldn't
lot.
make it. I remember one time when I started playing volleyball as an adult. He was like, "Oh, volleyball, that's weird. You've never played before." And I was like, "Dad, I played all through high school."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Always played. What do you mean?
Well, and I think that's hard. Like you said, growing up in separate households, there's so much that happens under your roof, and it's different. If you're around somebody every day all the time, it's totally different than seeing them, every now and then. But I will say with your dad, I feel like everyone that knows him is blessed to know him. And I think he's taught me tons of lessons and seeing,
Me too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, parents always do the best they can do with what they have. But he's built something that your family is now benefiting from. And not to keep
incredible.
bringing up your brother, but, seeing your brother and being involved in the business. I love it. I love to see that the whole, it's a whole family affair.
Yeah.
And your aunt.
Yeah, my aunt.
Yes.
Oh.
And that's the whole thing is, and my cousin, I've seen a lot of my cousins get in the business. And
Jump ship and then come back.
They come back. But it's really that's the reason I didn't want to do it, because I really wanted a family.
You had those attached
I really
together.
wanted to be there for my kids. And so when I went to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do because I was, stupid kid, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I decided the only thing I want to do is own my own business. That's all I know.
I want to be
I
boss.
don't know what
Yeah.
kind. I'm bossy, so that works
too.
out. Yes. So I went and got a couple business degrees, which was
Jaisy just got a notification that said pizza. She has to remind herself to eat. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
I love it.
Pizza.
I want some pizza.
Please eat the whole thing. Okay, sorry.
So when I graduated, I had a entrepreneurship degree, strategic management degree, and a marketing degree. And I go, okay, now what do I want to do with all of this? And so I went and visited DeAnne Fite, my grandmother, who was everything to me. My
Are
grandfather
you named
was
after
too.
her?
I don't know. There's stories.
Okay.
There's stories
It's,
about that.
it's awfully
It's
coincidental.
very, very close.
Yes.
But she was, she was my everything. She was my person. My grandfather was until he passed away, and then she really stepped into that role. Because when we were growing up, I had every other weekend with my dad, and most of that time we were with my grandparents, and they were just phenomenal people. My grandmother was the sweetest woman that's ever walked the face of this earth. And so I went to her and I said, Mimi, I just graduated college, got these degrees now. I'm 25 years old. Yeah, I went to college late.
Hello. At least you went. I did not.
But I still don't know what I'm going to do. And she's like, DeAnne, I have been training you to be a realtor your entire life. And I was like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, I have been training you. Your grandfather's been training you. I remember when we were kids, we would get in the car and my grandfather would go, okay, we're going to go to your cousin Allie's house. How do we get there? And I'd have to direct him, and I'd have to tell him every street name, how to get there. We would drive through Oak Cliff, and we would we'd stop at a corner. My grandmother, a lot of people don't know, towards the end of her life was blind.
Oh,
and so when we would go places, she'd say, okay,
She would drive.
Yeah, she would.
That's why they wanted you to tell her.
But we would go and she'd go, okay, what streets are we at? And I'd say, oh, we're at the corner of this, we're at the corner of that. And she goes, okay, the house to the right is the big white house with the red door. The so-and-sos live there. And then then I sold it to the so-and-sos. And then I sold it to the so-and-sos. And if we look to the left, that's the yellow house with the blue door. And that was so-and-so's house. But let me tell you about them. And then let me tell you about their kids. And then let me tell you about their grandkids. And it wasn't a transaction. It wasn't a house for her. It was
people.
the
A relationship.
people in the home and the relationships. And it was so amazing just to see her love people the way she did, and really, really, honestly, truly love people.
But that was Dean. And, I've got a story with Dean because I was blessed to be able to work for many years while Dean was still around and while Judge was still around. And Dean would call me often, talk to me. She would hear things about maybe little successes that I might have had as an agent. She'd pick up the phone and call. And those calls meant the world to me. But that's also the foundation that's been set for the Judge Fite Company. It's our culture. It's taking care of people. And
Well, I
that's
heard
where it
she wrote
started.
a hell of a letter too.
She would. I would get at least one letter from her a month, sometimes mostly once a week as I would get a letter from her.
Wow.
And it was interesting. I wish I would have kept them. You know, it's just, you don't know
think at
until
the
Yeah,
time.
you don't think at the
But
time.
when she went blind, her letters, it was just scribble scrabble, but she still sent them.
Yeah.
You know,
It
and she
was so-
had a big projector screen as she was going blind. My grandfather was the sweetest man. He bought her so much stuff to help her out. He bought her a little thing that sat on her cups when she was pouring water or pouring coffee. It would censor and would go off so she could hear, and so she knew to stop. But it brought her a big projector, so she would, like we see in old
Overhead
libraries.
projector. Yeah.
So she would put a little thing in and it would project all over. And
That's awesome.
but I could
That is
just,
so sweet.
I mean, she was just the most amazing woman. And she said, you know, I've been training your entire life to be a realtor. Why are you fighting it?
yeah.
And you, yeah.
Don't
Dream.
fight.
All I do is fight. No. And I said, all right.
Yeah.
So I chose not to do that. I decided to go.
So even after we had this great heart-to-heart, I was like, nah, I don't think so.
Well, I met with a career advisor. That was one of my gifts my stepmom gave me for graduating from college, is to meet with this career advisor. So the career advisor, you know, you go through all these tests and steps and meet with her like 27 times. And,
Right.
at the end, they say, okay, this is what you're good at and this is what you should be when you grow up. And it was, you need to be a recruiter or you need to be a realtor.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I guess I'll be a recruiter. So so I went out and I interviewed with a bunch of recruiting companies. I got a job right out of college making 6 figures recruiting doctors to
Oh,
hospitals.
wow.
I went in for the first day and they said, there's your cubicle, there's your headset. You're going to be on that about 10 hours a day. When you graduate and you work really hard, we'll give you an office. And I go, I guess I'll be a realtor.
Yeah.
And the next day I went into real estate.
That is awesome.
And
So you
I
really
remember
did
when
We
find
you were in
exhausted all
class.
options.
So DeAnne comes in, and at the time I had the training department at that time, and we started our Steps for Success class, which was our new agent training class, and she's in class with Victor Malone.
R.I.P. Victor. We love you, buddy.
Love Victor, and God had a different plan for Victor, but we're in class. She's in class with Victor, and DeAnne and Victor were all stars, and they fed off of each other, but they did what we asked them to do.
Well, that was because her dad was giving her all those leads.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly.
Jim would come to me
No, he'd
and
give it
say,
to Victor.
I want you to know I'm not giving DeAnne any leads. And he would go out of his way to make sure that didn't happen.
He was
So-
probably taking business from you just to overcompensate
Yes,
for
he
not
was.
giving you.
So,
Yeah.
so DeAnne starts in our Cedar Hill office as an agent, does outstanding, earns many awards, and then she later transfers to Waxahachie.
Well, and you did property management for a while
Yeah.
too, right?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah, so she does property management. She goes to Waxahachie, she says, I want to get into management. So you would think, Fite, last name, management, we're going to give her an office.
Boom, there you go. All you got to do is ask.
Yeah,
There you go.
no.
Hand it
So
to
she
ya.
becomes an assistant manager for years. Years.
They don't pay well.
Yeah.
Love you.
We do not pay assistant managers well. So she's there for years as an assistant manager. And it wasn't until we had an opening that was the right fit.
Fight.
Yeah, no. And when we had the opening, I remember to call because I picked up the phone and I called our principals, and Jim and Jan and Eric and Ashley, and said, this is what's going on. I've got an opening. And before I could tell them what my plan was, they were like, I think I know who you're going to say. And I said, I know. This is who I want in that position. And every one of them unanimously said, that's
Sarah.
what we need to do.
No.
No, it was unanimous. So this is a kind of a funny story. So I called DeAnne because it was that morning. I'm on the way to the office, and I said, hey, I need you to meet me at the office. Told her what happened and that we're promoting her effective immediately. So DeAnne gets a little bit excited. She's having breakfast with her fiance. She walked the ticket.
Oh no. Well, now that I'm a manager, I don't have to pay that.
She walks
these
the
tacos.
ticket, and about halfway through the day, we're in there working,
And the police come in.
So she comes into the
I'm not going
office.
back to jail.
I'm not doing it.
So she looks at me and she says, "Oops, I think I walked my ticket." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, when you called me, I got excited and I immediately got up and left."
Oh no.
And
So you did go back?
Yeah, so I
Okay.
did go back that
gosh.
afternoon. Well, that's the funny story. I did go back that afternoon and pay double because I felt so bad. So I gave, this precious waitress who probably had to pay out of her pocket. I waited tables for 5 years. People walk the tap, You pay for it.
Yeah.
And so I, double tipped her and triple tipped her and probably quadruple tipped her at that point. So, and I was so apologetic. Oh my gosh, I can't believe, I had this crazy thing happen.
I got a promotion.
I just jumped up. I left. I'm so sorry. And so I went maybe about a week later back to I used to go to this restaurant for breakfast.
And they're watching you like a hawk.
All the time.
No, they're not watching
There's a
her.
picture of you.
There's a picture you do not serve this woman.
It's a mugshot.
That's correct.
And so I go back and we sit down and then we never get waited on. And all the tables around us are getting waited on. And finally I'm like, this is weird. And so finally the manager comes over and she goes, we're not going to serve you in here because last time you walked the ticket. And I said, ma'am, I came back and paid that after. When I realized what I had done, I came back and paid. Like I quadruple paid, because I felt so bad and I apologized and I'm so sorry and blah, blah, blah. She's like, your business isn't welcome here. I have probably spent tens of thousands of dollars in that restaurant.
Oh my
That's how
gosh.
often I went there.
Do you want to shout out anything?
No.
Okay, so there is a restaurant in Mansfield, Our Place. I don't know if y'all have seen them
been
on
there.
Facebook.
Oh, and Debbie.
If
and,
you walk a ticket there,
they'll post a picture.
They post pictures and they say, I'm sure you didn't mean to, but y'all help us find these people. And they get,
many
it's
comments.
bad.
Yeah.
And they'll start saying they live at this address.
And they'll say, like, if you come in here and make it right, if it was an honest
take it
accident,
down.
we'll take it down. But
I'm so glad you didn't do it at that restaurant.
there was a guy.
I would have been like, that's the end. I know where.
There was a guy recently who I saw. He stole like a mug and like a plate. I was like, "Why are you stealing dishes?"
Oh gosh.
So, but
yeah.
I love eating at Our Place. By
Yes.
the way,
I do too.
I really
It is
do.
a good
I
restaurant.
know which restaurant DeAnne's talking about.
Just pay your tab, and then you don't end up like DeAnne.
Don't start, and there won't be none.
But so the reality of it is 16 years working for us before she could become a manager. 16 years.
What's funny is when I was interviewing when I first started in real estate with Joe Picardo, because I was in the Cedar Hill office, or were we Cedar Hill? Duncanville. We're actually Duncanville at that point. I sat down and I said, this is my life goals. These are my plans. I want to get into real estate. I want to sell, and then I want to go into management. That's my goal. And so when they announced me just as an assistant manager, Joe Picardo gets up and he's like, 9 years ago, DeAnne said that she wanted to go into leadership, and now she's finally getting her chance. And I'm like, nepotism at its
Yeah.
only took me 9 years to get here.
I got
I
to be
become
there when we
a
announced her
Centurion agent.
16 years ago.
At any point where you're thinking like, man, I should just leave and just go to Remax or something. I feel like
No.
You said that word.
The R word.
Keller Williams. I mean,
Can we edit that? It cannot be edited.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Jaisy.
We need to do some Tales and Level Up pretty
Yeah.
quick. 'cause we only have a
So
few
we've got
minutes
this
left.
segment here called Tales from the Lockbox. And, I love the fact that DeAnne, when she does something, puts her all into it. And DeAnne, I just want to let you know that I called Jim this morning. I called Eric this morning. I talked to Petey this morning, and I said,
No,
I need,
no one
all
had
the dirt.
anything bad
We
to
got
say.
all the dirt.
I need some
Yeah, right.
stories about DeAnne. And I'll let you know I can't use any of them. Not a one of them, but I will use this. So many of y'all know that Ann and I have an Airstream, and we love to camp, and that's all over Facebook. Here we go. We won't be on Airstreams long. But so DeAnne thought that would be romantic. So recently, her and her now fiance were going on a road trip. And DeAnne sends me this picture before they're going, and she says, "Oh my God, look at this! This is so beautiful. We don't have a plan, but this is the only place on the entire trip." They were just going to be nomads. Mm-hmm. This is the only place on the entire trip where we've made a reservation. And she sent me a picture of a bus. And on this bus, it had been converted into a camper.
Had it.
Where was it?
In Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And it was, let's just say,
And the bus is rocking, don't come knocking.
no,
Is
it
that what
had
we're
a
going to
bucket
say?
for the restroom.
Oh.
wow.
It was a shitty experience.
Okay,
say
well,
the
The bed was just a piece of plywood.
oh.
No, that's it. A blanket on top.
Oh.
They paid
How
a lot of money
romantic.
for this
You get
romantic
splinters.
experience.
Do you have splinters still?
Yeah, was your fiance like, give me that ring back?
Okay, we're
never mind.
definitely going to level up after
Yes.
that one. So I wanted to do this quote because we talked a little bit about, when you are successful, people seem to want to rob that from you. And the quote I found was, people who repeatedly attack your confidence and self-esteem are quite aware of your potential, even if you are not. So just keep that in mind. Don't let people hate. They're going to hate, but who cares?
Who cares what people think?
Do you, boo-boo?
I do me.
But thank you for being here. Oh, and I'm sorry, I need to tell you who quoted that. It was not Sarah. I'm not that smart. Wayne Gerard Trotman. Okay? All right, but thanks for listening, watching. DeAnne, thank you for
Thanks
spending
for
your
being so
Saturday with
transparent and
us.
just
Or your Wednesday, Wednesday. Yes. And y'all like, subscribe, follow, nice
Join us
comments.
next week.
Yeah. Y'all got anything
This
else?
is PB and Jaisy show.
We out.
Just had a chat, talk this and that with PB and Jaisy.